Hello. Hello, hello, everyone. Portilla, Mafra. Oh, Nora. Hey, how are you? Welcome in. Vic, Space Camp. Excellent. Sam. Roach, Dan. Uh, Feet Sucker is crazy work, but welcome in. Thank you. Thank you for the first time chat. You'll get along with our friend Pickle. Hello, hello, hello. At least the stream hits me at 1 a.m., not 4. Oh, jeez. 10 stream streak. Thanks, Tortilla. Um, yeah. So today I'm gonna give a recap of my weekend. I touched I touched grass for a little bit outside, so some fun pictures there. We have two. One that you guys will think is really cool, and one like holy grail bug for me. So we will talk about those two things. And then I have uh thank you, Space Camp. It has been a while. I look this rash. Please no. I am not that kind of doctor. Um and then yes, part of my weekend, one of my friends gave me this. It is Snoopy on a steamboat. And it is legally distinct from Lego. So this is the interlocking brick set that I was mentioning. We're going to try the camera down view so you guys can see like the desktop while we put this together. It's not very big. I don't know if it says how many pieces are on here. But it's not a very big set, so this should go relatively quickly. So yeah, we can start with the weekend, which leads into this. And then we'll look at some cool bugs. Glacial, what's up? Hello, hello. Okay, so my weekend plans. I was going crabbing. Crabbing was something that my family and I used to do a lot in New Jersey when I was going to the beach growing up. And as I was perusing Facebook Marketplace a few weeks ago, um, there was a guy selling these really interesting traps that I had never seen before. They open like flat like a book, and then there's a rod in the middle that you put your bait on, and then you tie a rope to it, so that when uh you like pull on the rope, the pages like flip up like this and like trap the crabs. And I was looking online, and these traps are like $15 a piece, which isn't terrible, but it's not great. Because state of Florida regulations, you can have 5 commercial pots that you like leave in the water, but the number of hand lines or hand collected traps that you're allowed to have, uh, as far as I can tell, doesn't have a limit. But so my goal was like roughly 5 of these things, and that's uh like $75, I think. If I was to get them at full price. But this guy on Facebook Marketplace was selling them for 8. He was selling them for like less than half the cost. And he was like, yeah, I can get them. I said, all right, that's fine. But then it was like 2 weeks of back and forth with this guy of like trying to set up a time and then something would happen and then it would fall through and blah blah blah. And I just like I don't think this guy had the traps. My suspicion was further confirmed when I went to pick up the traps that he said he was like, "Oh yeah, I got them, but I didn't really like how they worked. Um I'm just going to try to sell them off to make some stuff to like buy traps that I actually like." And I said, "Okay, great." But then I get there and I pick them up and they're all in the plastic. They're all in the plastic except for one. So I was like, "Did you like order these for me and then are just selling them locally?" I don't know. It was really weird. It was really weird. And that whole deal went down in like late March, early April. So like pre-defense. I obviously did not have time to go crabbing pre-defense. But this past weekend, I had some time. I messaged one of my buddies and I was like, "Yo, let's go crabbing." Um, and so we did. I drove down Saturday morning, picked my friend up, and uh I'm going to rephrase what I've been saying now. And we attempted to go crabbing. We attempted to crab. Food quota coda. New Nut Lightning Falls looks pretty good. That's awesome. I haven't. I don't think I've seen the I don't think I've seen the redo, Dakota. What's up, bud? How are you? Caught crabs once. Space camp. Crazy. Um. Just stick my little hand in the holes. Yeah, I like I said, we did it a lot as a kid, and we used to have these like box traps that it's a very similar platinum pass this season. Yes, yeah, they did. I did hear that one from Austin. I'm good, man. It's been a while. Haven't been back home in a bit, but been doing well. Little crab pots, not putting them out. Yeah, so we used to just always do it from the dock, and we used to have these like square traps that were very similar to what I'm talking about now, where you would pull the string and the doors would latch up. Um, and I loved it as a kid. I always liked it way more than fishing. Just because you would catch like other stuff in the crab traps, and this is maybe a little bit of foreshadowing. Um, so I always liked it, and we never got enough to like eat. We were bad crabbers. I can only remember like maybe 2 times that we caught enough that we're like, this is actually worth it. Um, Fine raptor and chicken drumstick. Yeah, Serenade. I know they have those like just little hook things. Kind of crazy. I do love bycatch. um, and so yeah, I had these new traps. I picked up my friend, and we were looking at this place. I had scoped out. The internet said it was like, yeah, this is pretty good. So I was like, let's go check this place out. Picked up my friend. We drove like the other 45 minutes to get to the place where we were going. And we were maybe 10 minutes away from our original destination. And we found we were driving, we're like, oh wow, that looks like a really nice dock or whatever. It was long, it was completely empty, and there was like a little cover at the end, so like we wouldn't have to be standing in the sun. And there was nobody there, so we turned into the parking lot, and it ended up being a county park. And we were like, I can't really tell if this is a place that we're like allowed to do this. So on the sign it said no feeding of wildlife. And so I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the place. Maybe this isn't the place that we go crab. But then we pulled up the county website and it said 750-foot fishing pier, great for crabbing. And we went, well, okay, we're gonna do this instead. Instead of our regular the spot that we had thought we were going to go. We decided to just put traps in the water. Where are we at? Is that just like a regional park? Yeah, yeah. Owenora. So our states are broken up into counties. There are 67 counties in Florida where I live, and so they're like locally managed parks. We do have regional parks that are a little bit bigger. Yes, I know. It's gross. Um, Moped, what's up? Hello. And Vasuki, I don't know if I saw you come in. Clamp on a stick and attach some salami to the end. Huh. Yeah, so the Icebound, there's definitely lots of different ways you can do this. I've always only, like I said, I've only ever done it by hand. I've never done it from a boat or anything. But you have the little uh the traps that I had, or you have the clamp on a string basically that we would put a chicken leg on, and then you would just slowly pull it in and then scoop them with the net. I've done that too, but that takes a lot of patience. And the traps I just bought off of Facebook Marketplace, so we had to use them. Good night, Space Camp. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. The salami lid. I know about the salami lid. Um, but yeah, so we found this new pier that we were going to, and if I go to Australia, would you go fishing with me? Yes, yes, I would. Um, we went to this pier that we just found. They said it crabbing and fishing was fine, so we went. We set up and everything. And as soon as we put the traps in the water, there were just fish all over them. And I knew what they were. And I said to my friend, I said, this ain't a good sign. This is not a good sign. And the reason why it was not a good sign was because they were pufferfish. You know, the ones that blow up when you when they get messed with. And pufferfish have really weird teeth because they eat a lot of crabs and they eat a lot of snails and they eat a lot of things that have like a hard shell to bite through. And so I was like, oh, there's like a lot of pufferfish here. That must mean there's a lot of crabs. But then I also thought, like, if there's a lot of pufferfish here, they may have eaten all of the crabs. And so we did not see many crabs at this first place. However, we did see these pufferfish. The fish were so prevalent that we were catching them in these crab traps. At first, not on purpose. We did eventually switch to trying to catch pufferfish. But we would pull them out and we caught so many of them. And they're so funky looking. So this is essentially what you see of them in the water. This is what we could see looking down and like swimming all around the traps. They're kind of bulbous. They're not that big, but they do have these really big eyes, which I think are super cool. And then this beak that's going on here. Now you might be saying, looking at this fish, it doesn't look very pufferfish-like. Well, they puff. They can actually do this in two different ways. So when we were pulling them up, thank you, Tortilla. Are they native to the area? Yes. We did some Googling, And we found out that there are actually 7 species of pufferfish that can be found in Florida. This one was the southern puffer. And so this one is native to the southern part of the United States. Did you know the dolphins play with them when they're puffed? I can totally see that. Is that what happened to Mr. Puff? Yeah, and he got made into a lamp. We talked about my friend and I talked about this. So they can actually puff up in 2 different ways. We would pull them up out of the water, and they would look like this one. But then when we would try to grab them out or whatever, they would just go and fill up totally with air. So all of this is air filled. But if for whatever reason they're getting harassed in the water, they will also fluff up with water. And I wish I would have gotten a picture of this because it happened at the next site that I didn't take as many pictures of. But we caught one in a trap, and so as we were pulling the trap in, it had time to like react and go, "Oh, I don't like what's happening here, so it's gonna puff up." When I pulled it out of the water, you could see the water level inside of the fish, which I had never seen before. Um, and it makes sense that they can do that, right? Because most of the time, the predators that they're going to be encountering are underwater. So if this was to happen, another fish was going after it, they would puff up like that, and they would probably do the same thing and go and suck the water in. But if they were doing it out of water, they would puff up like this with a balloon with just air in it. After it was filled with air, did it just float away like a little beach ball? Yes. So we would put them back, and they would then like realize they were in water, just go, and then they would go back down to normal and then swim away. It is quite literally a balloon animal. Yeah, they're pretty crazy. So we caught over the course of our day, which went from about 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. We caught 28 puffer fish. We caught 28 of them, and we weren't trying. At this first site, we were not specifically trying to catch pufferfish, but we would pull the traps up really fast in case there was a crab in it. To like move stuff around, whatever. Um, we would just keep catching them. We would just keep catching them, and I don't think it was the same 14 times. Because one, there was like 8 fish on one trap, but we walked down the entire length of this dock. So I had 7 traps because we had 2 like ring traps that were just like circle nets basically. And so we walked them down like the entire length of this almost 800-foot fishing pier. And so uh unless they were swimming really really fast between each trap, we were just catching tons of these things. Lurkin while storm coverage and sheltering with the cats and buns. Well, please give them scratches for us. I'm glad you guys are safe so far. Please keep it that way. So we caught a bunch of these things. And at some point, we were probably at this first spot for like an hour and a half. Did not see a single crab. Caught 20 pufferfish. So we decided to move. We pulled all our traps and stuff in, and we left. I guess we'll go through a couple other pictures before we continue the story. So this is obviously a lateral situation. This is what they look like from the front. So I know we were talking about their goofy teeth. they have, it's like a beak. They've got these big sharp upper teeth and these ones down here below to like crunch down on crab shells and to crunch down on crabs. This is the funniest thing. This is the funniest thing that's like it's a ridiculous animal. It does look like actually fish for sure. Um so this is still the same first guy. This is still that same first one that we caught cuz we didn't realize that we would be catching 28 over the course of the day. We were like, "Oh cool, we got one. This is actually kind of lucky. Like let's take a picture of this." Um So then, different side picture of him, so you can kind of see the funny teeth better from the side. They project out here a little bit. Um, but the really funny thing about this one is this graffiti that I didn't notice until way later. Peace and love, peace, love, and pufferfish. Uh, Sea paws, are they dangerous? Not really. Um, we did over the course of the day hand a couple off to children because parents are like, oh wow, look at that. And being the biologist and the educator that I am, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, just make sure you keep your finger away from the mouth because that could definitely take off like a toddler thumb. um they are dangerous to eat. They have this specific toxin, and like the entire family of these has the toxin. um Eric Parent Art, thank you for the follow. So we can't eat these. We caught 28 of them. They all went back. Because you can't really do anything with these in terms of like making dinner. Uh we did not get a single crab all day, and so we had pizza and beer for dinner. Talkie Talk, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Well, the peace symbol being wrong too. Yeah. It is the Mercedes logo. Yeah, it needs the extra line here for the peace symbol. Um, but yeah, so excellent pufferfish. And then my friend took this one, which I love this picture. I love this picture of myself now. Um, me and my buddy the pufferfish. I do. Oh, did I send it? Oh no, I don't think I did. He looks like he's smiling too. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Vasuki, thank you. That's what I was looking for. That's exactly what I was looking for. Um, yes, I was overjoyed to catch him. It was very exciting because I think this is. I remember as a kid when we would go crabbing, I remember having caught pufferfish in the traps before. That was the foreshadowing that I did at the beginning. I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this. Um, I remember catching pufferfish as a kid, but the way that I treat my life list of like animals that I have seen, I have to have like an exact time and place to go with them. And so I didn't have that for pufferfish. And so I was very excited to get to add this. My fish list is rather lacking compared to a lot of my other stuff. But I sent this picture, and Donkus, bless her soul, did a face swap for me. So me on the puffer, the puffer on me. I like this one too. I think this is just as good as the other one. Because again, we both look so happy to have done this. So yeah, this was the first stop. Um Donkus is the voice of a generation. Thank you, cute pufferfish. Oh, thank you, Roach. Mm. Um we were leaving the first place. We asked the only other guy that was on the pier, we're like, hey, do you have any recommendations? He gave us some. And so we're like, all right, sick. We're going to go check that out. As we were doing our final check, like we were pulling up all the traps to get them out of the water so we could leave, we pulled up something else. Again, your boy loves his bycatch. We pulled up this pretty sick snail. This is not the best photo. It is definitely out of focus, but it's a pretty cool shell. And from front on, it's even cooler. Now, some may classify this as like bug adjacent. We've talked about snails and White Mike or what? Yeah, it kind of does look like White Mike. Looks like a Triceratops. I'm glad you asked, Wild Child Mama. This is Megalogena corona, which is the American crown conch. This was alive, so this was in there feeding on the chicken leg that we had in there to try to attract our crabs. Snails is bug adjacent. Yeah, I never said snails wasn't bug adjacent, but we start getting into weird territory now because this is saltwater bug, and that's like a whole different thing going on. But yeah, so we had this really cool snail in our trap feeding on our chicken leg. All mollusk is bug. I don't know about that, Roach. I knew what you meant, Nikki. Conch Nation, yeah. So this was another fun surprise pulling up our traps before we left. Um, like I said, we talked to somebody else on the pier. He gave us a different idea of a place to go, and it was only like 15 minutes down the road, so we drove that way. There was a visitor center right where we were, so obviously we had to go check that out. And behind the visitor center, there was a pond. And in that pond was a turtle. I like turtles. But this guy was just chilling. I got another view of him here from the side. And this one, I believe, is... Everybody hold on to something for the name of this turtle. I believe this is a peninsular cooter. Peninsular cooter. We have at least... Yeah, we'll allow that serenade. That's fine. Automod's fine. Cooter's fine. There are 3 species of this turtle. There are three species of this genus in Florida, and you need the head pattern on the back here to identify which turtle it is. And so this one is the peninsular cooter because it has these two like loops here. Here's one and here's the other. And then this line straight down the middle of the evenly spaced center lines. The other ones have kind of like a figure eight shape and they don't have those side loops. So I was really lucky that I was able to get this back of the head shot, basically, of this turtle. Because otherwise they're very difficult to identify, even from like the side pattern here. It's not great. You may also notice that we have some artifacting here on the bottom of the picture. My camera is still broken. I haven't taken it to get fixed yet because it was a 10-year-old camera when I got it like almost 4 years ago. And I don't know if the money would be worth it to fix the camera versus like buying a new one. And I knew that this would come to bite me in the ass at some point over the weekend because I like just seeing the critter, whatever it may be, and being able to appreciate it doing its thing and like just have the moment for me. But I also do like to have proof that I've seen these things in case someone's like, "Oh, you didn't see a peninsular cooter there, blah blah blah." And so I knew the risk of taking this trip and potentially seeing some cool stuff and not having my camera. Not having my camera basically guaranteed that I was going to see something cool. I believe I had seen this species of turtle in North Carolina before, so this was not like the biggest deal to me. But there was something later in the weekend that I was like, damn. I am pretty good at taking pictures through my binoculars, which is why, you know, why we have this little ring here. It's the best you can do, kind of freehanding the phone in this hand and the binoculars up here. So I've been pretty good at taking pictures like that. And so the one you'll see later that I'm like really excited about um, was also taken that way, but was also the thing that kind of made me kick myself in the ass a little bit, being like, all right, I need to figure out what I want to do with this camera. So we drove to this place, turtles in the back lot. Yeah, it works, Mini Pearl. Absolutely, it does. But when I started birding and I wanted to like double check all my IDs, that's how I did most of my pictures until I got a real camera. And I think it is tricky. It is a very tricky thing uh to get right. But I've been taking pictures through my microscope for so long that I was like, oh, yeah, not that bad. Dylan, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. So yes, you can in fact do that, Mini Pearl. I have a recommendation if you do try, is you hold your phone vertically, so like this, and then you also take the binoculars, so instead of them being like this, you turn them this way. So then you can like hold them in the middle and line your phone up with the top eye lens. It's way easier than trying to hold the phone vertical but hold the binoculars horizontal. Um, it's so much easier if you just do them both vertical. So, uh, my recommendation to you, if you start trying to take pictures through binoculars again. So we get to the second spot, right? It's very different. It's a very different spot than where we were. It wasn't on a pier. We were tossing traps like off of the land out into the water. And We were also there for about 2 hours, and we didn't see nothing. The second round, when we pulled the traps to see if there's anything in them, we got another puffer fish, and that was the one that had sucked up the water, so you could see the water level in the fish. And so then we decided to call it there because the road that we were on looked like it was one big loop, but they had sections of it blocked off to car traffic, so they were just like walking or bike paths. And so we went back out to the main road and then went down to one of the other drive-in spots. We tried there for the rest of the day, basically, and we were quite hopeful because when we got there and got out of the car, there were crab claws on the ground. We were calling that our crab evidence, our crab evidence, if you will. So there was crab evidence at this last spot that we were going to try for the day. Um, does that mean we got onto crabs? Nope, sure didn't. There was crab evidence, but whatever crab evidence was left, well, it must have been the last crabs that were there or something like that. Because again, we did not see any besides the dried up ones on the shore. However, that doesn't mean we didn't see cool stuff. That's the fun thing about being broadly interested in biology in general, is that you're never really like bored outside. You can always find stuff. My friend that I was with is really into botany, so we were looking at all the plants and stuff. And there's a lot of weird, like ocean invertebrates that we were able to find. This is obviously not an invertebrate, but we had this Caspian tern fly over us. Not a new bird or anything like that, but while we were sitting there, the last spot that we were at from probably like 1 o'clock to like 4:30. And so that whole time I was keeping a list of the birds that were like flying by. And I think we got like 27 species over the course of 3 hours of us not moving, but just seeing like birds come by and whatnot. So that was pretty cool. You can see it also got a little bit overcast. This was just with my phone. This was not with the binoculars, so it's zoomed in, so it's kind of grainy. But yeah, Caspian tern, which was pretty neat. And then also in the harbor there with us, like we were on land and the water kind of cut in a little bit. We had some dolphins. And according to iNaturalist, this is a Tamanan's bottlenose dolphin. And I was like, I have never heard of that before. I've only ever known them as Atlantic bottlenose dolphins. And so while we were sitting there, not catching crabs, I looked this up. And in 2023, they split Tamanan's bottlenose from Atlantic bottlenose. Based on they have different number of vertebrae in their backs, which was kind of neat. But Tamanan's, this like short bill bottlenose, you can't really see it here, but the nose is not very long. Was considered for a long time an ecotype of the Atlantic bottlenose. So the same species, but in a slightly different environment, so they looked different. Atlantic bottlenoses have longer snouts. These ones always had shorter ones, and they also have these like very straight dorsal fins, whereas bottlenoses typically have like a more recurved thing. So this was neat to read about this new dolphin, new-ish dolphin. These are like the inshore varieties. So typically you get these Tamanans now, they're everywhere from like 200 meters or 200 feet of depth and shallower. So these are going to be like the dolphins that you see from the east coast of the United States. Oh god, you guys made an emote. Hold on, what's that look like? Nice. That's fun. Still determining if golf ball noses are contaminants. Yeah. So it is like a brand new thing. But yeah, so we got to see dolphins. This was great. This was very fun. And they were so close. Um, the first time that we like realized they were there, it's because we could hear them exhaling. So they're coming up, they're going and like, you know, doing their little blowhole thing. And we heard that. And so we turned around, we're like, oh, there's dolphins there. That's pretty sick. So they were super close. We saw them a bunch, like coming in and out, and we saw at least like 5 a couple of times. So it was really neat. This is cool. I have not seen many different species of cetaceans, which is like the whale slash dolphin group of animals. So this is another cool one to be able to add to my species list. I do have a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet that details the order, the family, the genus, the species, where and when that I saw it, and generally the accompanying INAT record. I am not like the biggest INAT nerd around, but I do use it to basically catalog all my photos of all of my vertebrates. eBird tracks all of my bird photos. My collection serves as like the reference for my bugs and stuff like that. But all of my reptiles and amphibians and mammals and things like that are all mostly going to be on iNaturalist. So I get to fill out a little bit more of a column now because I have a new dolphin, which was quite fun. Caspian tern. All right, so I'll finish out the weekend now. No crab. We did not get any crab, and we left this spot. Oh, Vic, you're gonna have so much fun. Please message me about it. I got into birds in 2021 and I never really looked back. It's a whole separate thing, and that's what the rest of this weekend's activities were kind of focused on. So, first of all, we leave this dolphin spot, and as we're driving back home, we're like, we had obviously then spent a lot of time looking up what puffer fish we were seeing. And it turns out that my friend that I was with saw a different species like in the water while we were there, but we never picked it up when we were bringing in the traps. So I went, you know what? No crabs today. No crabs, that's fine. I would like now to go back and catch this other species of pufferfish. It's called a striped burrfish, I think. Is that right? Yes. It was this guy. So we could see the stripes and stuff like that and just kind of the general difference in body shape from above. And so we were like, we're going to go back now and specifically try to catch this thing. And so now, when we were actively trying to catch pufferfish, we rebaited, we used fresh chicken legs, we put the traps out, and I think we only caught 3 in the next hour or so that we were there. We must have fed all of the pufferfish that morning. They must have been full. They didn't want to eat anymore. But the water also had gotten a lot rougher. When we were there in the morning, it was dead still. It looked like glass, basically. And so we could very easily see all of the fish that were swimming into the traps and be able to differentiate, like, oh, these are really different we can catch these different ones now. When we went back, it had gotten overcast and was a little bit threatening to storm. And so when we got back, the wind was blowing, and so it was a lot more choppy, and we couldn't see the fish as well anymore. But also, there just weren't as many of them because I think we fed them all too well in the morning. Um, so eventually, we gave up. We did not catch our second pufferfish, but we did mark it on our Google Maps as the Puffer Park. So hopefully, next time we decide to go do this, we will catch a different species of pufferfish. I'm all in on pufferfish now. I'm very excited about it. Um, went back to my friend's place. We watched Sinners with his roommate, and we drank beer and ate pizza, and it was great. It was an excellent weekend. Sunday morning when I went to leave, I had a couple of things that I needed to do on like my way out. Right near Orlando, there is this thing called the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive, and it's like 11 miles of a drive-through trail that you're going through this like marshy wetland lake habitat, and it's a really good spot for birds. When I came to visit my friends that lived in Orlando like 2 years ago, before I had any notions that I would be moving to Florida, they took me there because it was like the place that I could get the most amount of Florida specific birds in like one go. And it ended up being really, really good this weekend. Um, the Wildlife Drive giveth, and the Wildlife Drive taketh. Um, but it definitely gave first. So I'm driving along and I'm pulling off to the side and I'm checking all the things and I'm like getting my big spotting scope out to see all the way far off birds and all that good stuff. And remember, I don't have my camera. This is important to the story. Um there is a thing called a gray-headed swamp hen, which is non-native but is established in Florida now. And the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive is like the place to go to see them. It's just like it's like chicken sized. It's a decently big bird. And they're loud. They're so loud. And so I'm driving, I hear this like really well, I hear a call that I don't really recognize, and so I know it's not a common gallinal. I know it's not a purple gallinal. I'm like, it's like that same rail sound to it, but I was like, it's gotta be the swamp hen. And so I stop, and there are four swamp hens kind of like going at it. I don't know if it's a territorial thing, I don't know if it's a mating thing, but they're causing a ruckus on the left hand side of the road. And so I pull up my binoculars and I'm peeping, and I see like maybe another 5 feet behind these swamp hens. There is a medium-sized bird about the same size as this guy that's walking with its neck like low and parallel to the ground, and its neck has stripes on it. Now, if you know anything about birds, what I just described is characteristic of one species. And that is the American bittern. So this is a heron. It's in the same family as like the great blue heron and snowy egrets and things like that. But it's this little compact thing that has this very distinctly striped neck, but can also extend. It's a heron, so it has this long neck, and they walk with like their necks out flat, like either retracted in or like and like really low and parallel to the ground. Um, and so what I had seen, I was like, wow, there's actually no way that that was an American bittern because I have only seen this bird once. I have only seen this bird at a marshland in New Jersey where it was about 100 feet in front of us. It spooked up out of the reeds and then flew away. So the only reason that I was able to identify it before was because they have these really big black edges to their wings. Wild child, that's crazy. Maybe we saw the same one. Um, so the only way that I was like able to confirm my ID was because they have these like really big black wings, and none of the other herons have that in flight. So I saw the bird. I saw the bird in New Jersey. I was confident in the identification, and it counted for my life list, right? Like I was like, this is a new bird. I've never seen this before. This is great. But it wasn't very fulfilling. It was not a very fulfilling experience because I didn't get to spend a lot of time looking at it. Uh, we spooked it up, so I felt a little bit bad about that. Um, and so right behind this swamp hen commotion, I see this bird and I immediately clock it. I'm like, that's an American bittern. Holy shit. Deliberate fisherman's flag, fresh the bittern. Yeah, it's a tough one to find, and I'll show you guys why in a second. Um, I immediately clocked it behavior wise and size wise that it was an American bittern, but immature green herons, which is a much more common and much more easily observed bird, also have the stripes on the neck, and these are much smaller than a bittern, but they have the stripes on the neck. And so I was like, I need to double check this, right? So I got out of my car, I walked around where I could like try and get eyes on the bird again because it disappeared in the reeds. Every color on earth except green. Well, they got some green right there. They got some green going on back there. But you can even see like this one from the front, it has this like stripy neck that I was worried about. This is hilarious. I was going to be my second guess. Right. So wild child, like that's the whole point. Is like you have, especially with like these rarer birds, um, you need to basically rule out all of the common stuff before you start thinking about like what the rarity could be. And so when you're learning birds, Vic, if you're still here, my tips for you are to learn like the common birds that are in your area, and get really good at identifying those. Because once you know like what the expected stuff is, something different will stick out. And so I have seen a bajillion green herons in my life. I think earlier that day I had seen like 20 driving through this place. And so I was like, it wasn't a green heron. I know it wasn't a green heron, but I need to get eyes on this thing again to double check. Also, I had never taken a picture of an American bittern before because the first one that I saw was 1,000 feet away, flying away from me. So again, I like to have proof that I saw these things, not really for anybody else's sake, but really for my own sake of like, nobody can question this if I have a photo. So I pull over to the side of the road, I get out, and American Bitterns will do this thing where they just wait. Arnold told me it was a Broadwing hawk. It was a new one for us. Nice. I I don't think I have Broadwing yet. I think that's one that I'm still missing. But American Bitterns will do this thing where, think about it, they have these stripes on their neck going down, so they will just stand in the reeds with their head up, and those stripes look like reeds, so they really blend in. They're really, really difficult to see, and so that was another thing of like this one right here. This is nuts. So the bird's right here, but it is incredibly difficult to see because it looks just like the rest of the plants. Like all of these broken down reeds, that striping on the throat and like the broken up mottled white color have them perfectly blend in to this very specific habitat that they're in. And so uh I'm like I'm looking where the last place I saw this bird was. And as I was getting out of the car, I don't know if it ran. I don't know if it like went behind and like went away from where I was looking, blah blah blah. But I found it. I found it again. We get a lot of blue herons in the fields without any water. It's curious. Yeah, Owenora, they definitely do that. Blue herons are pretty badass. I don't know if you were watching Maya's Everglades stream, but she was telling Rage that like great blue herons can eat baby alligators. And while I've never seen that in person, uh, in 2018, I was working at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco. And so, walking to and from work every day, I would have to walk through this section of Golden Gate Park. And in the middle of Golden Gate Park, I saw a great blue heron, which is not super far from water, but I saw a great blue heron eat a squirrel. And that was like the craziest thing that I've ever seen in my life. So they can and will eat a wide variety of prey items, and they are definitely not as water restricted as some of the other herons because they will feed on things besides fish. Uh, they will, of course, eat fish as well, but yeah, mice, rats, squirrels, baby alligators, whatever. So it's a whole thing. Anyway, I find my heron. I find my bittern again, and uh Wild Child Mama, this picture's for you. You called it almost exactly. You get them from the front and you see their silly eyes. So this was this was the moment that I knew was going to happen. This was the insanely cool thing that I did not have my camera for. And so I was nervous about this. I I wanted the documentation, but the other thing was this thing was maybe 20 feet from me. It was not very far off of the bank where I was, and so I would have gotten such cool pictures if I had my camera with me. But again, I just needed the documentation like for myself. So this is also through the binoculars. I I had to pick the binoculars up and down a few times to like actually figure out which clump of reeds that this thing was sitting in. But I eventually found it, and I had to use like landmarks to get myself there. So I basically like looked down at my feet and I'm like, okay, there's the edge of the water. There is like the top of this first layer. There's this other patch of reeds, and then up and slightly to the right is the patch of reeds where this bird is. And I eventually get there. I'm very happy with how this picture turned out because we don't have any of that artifacting around it, like where you would see the cup of the binocular. So I was super excited about it. I have a couple of different angles where it's basically the same picture because I was just spamming take the photo, take the photo. But um this is clearly identifiable. This is not in any way a green heron. It does not have the like reddish side of the neck. This also has a dark malar stripe, which is this one here that goes from the top of the bill back through the eye, and green herons won't have that. And green herons also have green or like is dark under the chin. It wouldn't have this immediate like white stripe here. So with this, I have my like billion% confirmation. And this was quite honestly like the best American Bittern interaction that you could possibly ask for. Um, I've talked to a couple of my birding friends who have seen many more bitterns than I have, and they were like, yours was better. They've seen a lot more of them, but they're always far away. They only catch glimpses. This thing was 20 feet away from me. I saw it walk. I saw it like move its neck and get up into this position. Um, it was super close, and I just got to watch it. The swamp hens were still causing a commotion and everything down in front, but I was focused on this bird that was just trying to look like leaves. And it was great. It was so phenomenal. I was like giddy. I'm still giddy about this. I emailed my friend that I went and saw the first American Bittern with, and I went, I hate to tell you, but I topped our experiences. And sent him this picture. He was like, "Holy shit, that's great!" So this for me was like maybe the highlight of the weekend. I not that I don't love the pufferfish, and you could see the excitement on my face in the pufferfish photo, but I'm just not as into fish as I am into birds, primarily because I don't know that much about fish. So maybe I'll get there one day, whatever. But I was just grinning stupid about this bittern. So this was really special. And like I said, when we're starting this segment of like talking about this part of the day, uh, the wildlife drive giveth. That is, this is what has been giveth. I received the American bittern, and like maybe the best possible American bittern sighting that anybody could ever ask for. I get back in my car. I drive a little bit of ways up. Um, I help a French guy see his first alligator, which was pretty fun. He was asking me, he was like, "Oh, you must be professional bird watcher, ha ha ha." Because I had the binoculars on and I had my big spotting scope as well. So he was like, "Ha ha ha, professional birds." And he asked about the alligator, and I said, "Oh yeah, there's one out here." What? That can I see? And so I got him and his wife on their alligator, which was very nice, very exciting. Um, I'm sorry, Owenora. This guy kind of did sound like that, though. You might not, but that guy kind of did. Lyndon, hello. Chef from the Little Mermaid. Cricket, what's up? Kingfisher this weekend. That was something that I didn't see this weekend. That I was surprised that I didn't. Um, so probably because I was making fun of his accent just now. But I got this French guy on the alligator. His wife, him and his wife saw it. They were very excited, and I was like, "Hey, listen! Right at the end of this road here, there's like an old pump house. It's teeming with alligators." I was like, "If you do not see like five there, something is wrong." And so he thanked me. I started walking away. I ate shit so bad. So bad. I I don't know what it was. I There wasn't like that much variation in the ground. It was relatively flat. Um oh, Paper Jules. Hello. This was in Central Florida at the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive. I was just telling everyone that this was my second bittern sighting ever. So it wasn't my lifer, but it was definitely the better of the two experiences. Um, Very exciting bittern experience on this end. So I was walking back to my car. I had my scope, I had my binoculars and everything, and I trip. I roll my ankle and I trip. I stay up. I don't fall, which is great because I didn't get my any of my optics or anything dirty. I didn't like fall and you know damage any of the equipment. However, I rolled my ankle so bad. So bad to the point that I thought I was going to throw up. It hurt so bad. I was like nauseous from how bad it hurt. And that really put a damper on the day. Uh the the wildlife drive giveth the American bittern, the wildlife drive taketh the use of my left ankle. um I knew it wasn't broken because I have broken my ankle before. I knew it wasn't broken, but it was not good. So I just had to keep going. This wildlife drive is 11 miles one way. You can't turn around. Um, you just have to go through it. And I was gonna, I wanted to see more birds. I had more birds that I wanted to see. How far from the car? I was maybe like 50 feet. It was not far. Um, so I hobbled back to the car. It hurt to put pressure on it. It was like really bad. Um, but there was really nothing I could do to like get out of there faster, you know? So I was like, this is gonna hurt. This sucks, but I have to keep going through. I'm not gonna get out and walk anymore. But if it's still feeling like that bad when I get back home, I'll go to an urgent care or whatever. I finish out the wildlife drive, and right up at the end of the road where I told the French guy that there was going to be a bunch of alligators, there was in fact a pond with a bunch of alligators. These two, this is just a cell phone picture. There's no binoculars going on here. So these two were right here. Was able to get two of them in frame, but I think there were probably like a dozen of them in this pond. So I certainly hope that the Frenchman was able to see more of his alligators. Um, and again, still at this point, I'm driving. I just got to get out of here because my ankle hurts real bad. But then there was something going on that traffic had backed up. Probably something crossing the road, or someone was trying to do something dumb while they were driving. But I had the pleasure of stopping next to this guy. This is a Florida soft shell turtle. This is Apollone ferox. Um, and they look weird. They look weird for turtles. uh, they're called soft shells because their shells don't have like the super protective scoots that like Push Pop's shell does. The shells are very smooth and kind of squishy. He's got this funny little pig nose. Um, and yeah, so this was quite neat. Little snorkel, yeah. Starberry, hello, hello. So yeah, whatever was going on up ahead that was like causing the traffic to back up, uh, I got to sit next to this guy while we were waiting. Are turtles scaleless reptiles? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not really sure, Roach. Um, Turtles in general kind of have scales. It's a reptile, just like everything else. But these ones in particular have like the really soft shells and are kind of odd. But this was the end of my pictures that I was able to take on this wildlife drive. Um, I got out and then I finished my drive home, and I got out and my ankle still hurt, but it didn't hurt that bad. Uh, I guess that's not true. It still hurt pretty bad, but it didn't hurt that bad compared to when it actually happened. So I was like, maybe we'll see how it feels in the morning. And today it feels a lot better. Um, I'm able to actually like put weight on it and walk rather than shuffle. Uh, I I did have apparently a noticeable enough limp that people at work commented on it, but in general, my foot feels way better today. I think it was just like a bad roll, and it's gonna be a pretty gnarly bruise over there, I think, in like the next day or so. But all in all, uh, it was all right. I got to see the bird, and that was kind of the highlight, even if the low light was in fact twisting the shit out of my ankle. First aid kit in the car from now on with an ice pack. Okay, I'm so I am pretty well equipped in the car first aid level of things. I do not have an ice pack, but I do have things like a tourniquet and also stitch kits if I ever need to give myself stitches for any reason. Um, but yes, I can look into getting one of those like instant freeze pop ice pack things. I will look into that. I think that's good unsolicited advice. Um, and yeah, so this was I went and I was visiting a friend. He went crabbing with me, so that was kind of like the impetus for a lot of this weekend was going down to see my buddy. And I hadn't seen him since Christmas ish, and so I think these two things disturb wasp nest. Oh, nice. Be raw dog and hiking. That's crazy, Starberry. You got to have something. Um, I worked as a lifeguard for 5 years, and we did like I started that job when I was 15, and I saw way more medical emergencies before I was like old enough to vote than most people probably have in their entire life. But we did some pretty crazy shit. Like I've done CPR on a person. I've backboarded a couple times, like spinal injury sorts of things. And so I have enough first aid training for it to like make sense to have some of this like more advanced hit stuff. Um, but yeah, I have a bag in the back that's like pretty loaded down, but no ice pack. I just forgot about the ice pack, I suppose. Um, so yeah, completely switching gears now, talking about other fun stuff. My friend had given me the Snoopy Steamboat. I love me some peanuts. So I was given this, and I was given this as a belated Christmas present. Trying to get the no free advertising on the front here. Um, did you show our favorite Snoopy fan that? Yes, Sam, I did. I messaged them, and sadly they are out and about right now. But I told them I would send a picture later. So then the other thing that I got was this Michael Crichton novel called Micro, and I actually already own this book. I spotted it at a bookstore in Las Cruces, New Mexico, from across the entire room, because this is a ground beetle. This is a ground beetle silhouette, and something else that you should all probably know about me. I fucking love Jurassic Park. You know who wrote Jurassic Park? Michael Crichton. So this just fills all of my like niche uh interests of things. But my copy didn't have the dust jacket anymore. So there's this imprint on the front that has the beetle. And this is what my copy more or less looks like. And so my friend saw this, basically had the same thought as I did of like, oh, that's a ground beetle book. Evan needs that. And got me this copy. I have not finished it yet. But there is a grad student in this book that works on ground beetles. And so I was like, oh, that's me. That's me in there. But now that I have another copy, am I a freak for disposing of dust jackets immediately? No, I don't think you're a freak for it. But I do like how much more like vibrant this is than just the regular cover. Plus, I get to look at my boy Michael on the back. So I'm glad I have another copy now, and I really do need to finish reading this book. I take the dust jackets off while I read them and put them back on once I'm done. Yes, Vic, that is correct. That is what I do as well. What is this book about? Allow me to read you the preface of this book. In a locked Honolulu office building. Ooh. MB Prime, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. In a locked Honolulu office building, 3 men are found dead with no signs of a struggle except for the ultra-fine, razor-sharp cuts covering their body. The only clue left behind is a tiny bladed robot nearly invisible to the human eye. In the lush forests of Oahu, groundbreaking technology has ushered in a revolutionary era of biological prospecting. Trillions of microorganisms, tens of thousands of bacteria species are being discovered. They are feeding a search for priceless drugs and applications on a scale beyond anything previously imagined. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, 7 graduate students at the forefront of their fields are recruited by a pioneering microbiology startup. Nanogen Microtechnologies dispatches the group to a mysterious lab in Hawaii, where they are promised access to tools that will open up a whole new scientific frontier. But once in the Oahu rainforest, the scientists are thrust into a hostile wilderness that reveals profound and surprising dangers at every turn. Armed with only their knowledge of the natural world, they find themselves prey to a technology of radical and unbridled power. To survive, they must harness the inherent forces of nature itself. An instant classic, Micro pits nature against technology in a vintage Crichton fashion. Completed by visionary science writer Richard Preston, this boundary pushing thriller melds scientific fact with pulse pounding fiction to create yet another masterpiece of sophisticated, cutting edge entertainment. Like me a book with lots of pictures. There's not many in here. But yeah, I would say I'm probably like a third of the way through this book. And like I said, there is a grad student in here that studies ground beetles, so I was like, obviously. So these, I can recommend it, I guess, off the first third of the book. I did really like it so far. Um, so I can recommend if you guys like Crichton and stuff. I think it'd probably be a good pickup. But these were not the best Christmas present that my friend was able to give me. To make you understand the context of the bug that I am about to show you, I have a presentation that I think at some point I promised I would give on stream anyway. There was a conference back in January that I gave a talk about kind of the status of what we know about ground beetles in Florida and some mysteries surrounding them, like some things that like we need more information on. So I'm going to run through a couple of slides to give you the background for the bug that we are going to look at. I'm not going to do the whole presentation, and I'm not going to do like the full polished version of it. So if there are questions, feel free to stop whenever. Singularity 720. What's up? So this is where I'm going to start the presentation. This is my mysteries slide of things of ground beetles in Florida that we need to look into more to like really understand them better. The first is this species called Holocoryza arenaria. And this is something that if you've been around for a while, you have heard of already. This is a subterranean ground beetle, and it is also a halobiont, which means that it is associated with like salty and saline habitats. The cited macro habitat for this is sea beaches at or near the high tide area and mangrove swamps. And then the specific micro habitat is the exposed wet substrate of coquina coral, cemented by very fine silt or sand and covered with seaweed nets. And that description of the habitat might look something like this. And if you've ever been along Florida's coast, a lot of it looks almost exactly like this. But despite seeming the entire state basically being good habitat for this thing, our collection, where I work, we only have specimens from July in Monroe County and September in Pinellas County, which are quite far apart, and there are only 11 specimens of this thing known in collections in the United States. And so for those of you maybe not familiar with the Florida geography, this is how far apart those two sites are. The Pinellas County one is the one that's like midway through the state here, the Sunshine Skyway. And then Lower Macumbe Key, this is the one that's down in Monroe County. This is about 400 miles of coastline between these two sites, for which we don't have any records of this beetle. And if it is just going to be like under seaweed nets and stuff in this habitat that you would expect in Florida, basically all along the coast, Why don't we have more of them? And so this is something that I have specifically tried to collect already. For those of you that were here for the post Christmas uh, the bottle stream where we found 643 kilometers. Yes, thank you, Owenora. Where I was going through the seaweed and I ended up finding that other really rare beetle. This was the one that we were looking for. This is like my big target. We've ended up finding some other stuff, but not this thing yet. So I have sampled for this, and like, why do we think that there aren't more records given, the wide availability of habitat for this thing? I think there are a couple of reasons. First is the size. This bug is less than 2 millimeters long. And it also breeds in sand. So, for someone to go to a habitat where this would be found, you're basically separating out something very similar to the size of a grain of sand out from amongst the billions of grains of sand there on the beach. Additionally, the known localities are probably not places that the average insect collector would go to. The Sunshine Expressway or the Sunshine Skyway site up here in Pinellas County is a beach that is off the side of the highway. You can literally just like be on the highway, pull off to the right hand side, and get to the beach where this thing had been collected before. So, a lot of entomologists would look at that and go, I'm not going to go collecting there. That's probably a garbage habitat. So the known localities definitely play a role. The collecting method is also not something that people generally do. This is a flightless species, so it's not really going to do any good to go and set up my big bright bug light that we do when we typically want to go collect something. You have to sift sand to get this. So I sat there on Christmas and I was sifting sand for hours. And I eventually decided to try to float it out of the seaweed um, as like a last resort, but don't know I don't know how to collect it. The only specimens that we have are from like the 70s, and both of the guys that collected it are dead. So I can't really ask how they went about it. I can just base it off of like my other bug knowledge of like how to get these sorts of things. Would they be present on beaches without mangroves or colder climates? Colder, almost certainly not. This is a subtropical genus, so we only have 11 specimens from the US, but this is like a pretty widely distributed Caribbean species as well. So it's all throughout like the warm coastal areas like southeast of the United States. Um and the genus can be found down like through South America. Can I maybe find this in SoCal? Probably not, but there is a different cool thing in SoCal that I would love if you could find for me. Um, but that is not a Carabins of Florida specimen, but I can definitely message you about that for sure. We'll hold on this ad break for a second. As the last point here, the taxonomic interest I think does really kind of hit home. I saw that ONRM mentioned that specifically. All right. It says you guys are back. Um, and the last thing, part of the reason why I think that nobody's sought this thing out, or the reason why we don't have that many specimens, is because there's a lack of taxonomic interest in this group. Um, the last person who was like actively working on ground beetles in Florida was a guy in like the early 90s. So it's been 30 years, give or take, since someone was like specifically focused on this group in Florida. And so there's a lot of bugs, right? There are a lot of bugs to go around, and expertise and interest in them kind of ebbs and flows throughout the years. So it's not uncommon for somebody to pick up a group that's like been abandoned basically for a really long time. The group in general, I think, does have pretty wide interest, but like the bigger species, tiger beetles, the fiery searcher, things like that, that are big, bright, and colorful, um, nobody's like really excited about a 2 millimeter thing that looks like this, except for probably me. So, um, this is something that I am on the hunt for, and I have thoughts. I have thoughts about this. Shresno, what's up? One Maya found in Costa Rica. Yeah, kind of. It has the like separated thorax and elytra here, but I will for sure keep you all appraised if and when I find this thing. Um, we will be having a celebration when we find this. So that was the first of these kind of mystery things. The second one, this is a species called Cymindis rufostigma. Rufostigma means red spot. So you can see here there is a red spot on the wings that might prove interesting. This species is relatively new. It was only formally described in 2013, and it was described from 11 specimens. Compared to the last species that we were talking about, this thing is a monster. It is about a centimeter long, so like pretty big. Uh, and it comes to light. So it is collected in a way that a lot of people collect. It is of a size that I think a lot of people would be interested in picking it up. The red spot is pretty unique. Uh, Artifact or patch of what? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Nara, this is the pin that's in the insect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is the original specimen. The holotype specimen is the original specimen that a species is described off of. And because this was collected in Florida, my museum that I work at has this holotype. Like this beetle, this individual in the photo is sitting in my office right now. But it was only known from these 11 specimens, and it's also collected in kind of general pine flatwoods and pine upland habitat. So we've already checked off two of the things that potentially made the last one hard to collect. This is a really easy habitat to collect in that a lot of people do collect in. It comes to light, so it's not an obscure collecting technique. And this beetle is big, at least comparatively. So, like, in general, you would think people would care about it. The really odd thing, though, is the distribution of this species. It is known from these four collecting localities all around the state of Florida. They are the Austin Carey Forest, St. Augustine, Florida, the Florida Medical Entomology Lab, and Archibald Biological Station. And this makes a surprisingly nice rectangle that goes across the entirety of the state of Florida. Why isn't it anywhere in the middle? This is an insane distribution, right? Like it's at corners. Why is it nowhere in this middle section that covers a lot of the state? And the first thing that I thought of was like, oh, maybe we're on like the outskirts of certain habitat designations. And so I pulled up this ecoregions of Florida map that shows uh, that this entire swath over here, if you move these points over, these points are all in just two of these habitats. Is it also along the edges? Donkus. We don't know. Because all of the specimens that were collected from one of these four sites. So these are the only places that we know that this beetle occurs, but like it has to occur throughout this middle section. And looking at this, it's like, yeah, with the habitat differentiation here, you would expect that it's all through that middle section of Florida. But we don't have any specimens. But what we do have is the University of Central Florida, which is in Orlando, which is smack dab in the middle of this rectangle. It is literally the exact center of where we would expect this beetle to show up. And so the University of Central Florida have some friends that work there, have some friends that go there. And in fact, to try to see if I could find this beetle in their collection, all of this, these 7 drawers right here, is every unidentified ground beetle that was in the UCF collection. When I moved here, I picked up every single unidentified ground beetle from that museum. It was like 5,200 specimens, and I've been slowly working my way through them. One of the first things that I did, kind of my high grade, was trying to find this thing. It's very obvious. You're not going to confuse this with many other things. And so just very easily looking through the drawer, you would expect that you would be able to pick this out from kind of the lineup. It is not. It's not there. It is not in any of this. It's not. This is a fraction of what I had. I've already given them back like 1,000 specimens that I was able to like bang 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 go through the IDs pretty quickly. This is roughly 4,000 of them net left. And I also went through their collection of stuff that was maybe just identified to genus. There were no specimens of this thing in the UCF collection. And so, like, again, what is this? What happens? Why is this doing this? Let me catch up here. Hold on. Doesn't it make it a C? Oh, yeah. So glacial. This point right here and this point right here, so the Austin Carey Forest and the Archbold Biological Station, these are in C. And the Florida Medical Entomology Lab and the St. Augustine site are in D. So it can be found in both of those. It's not the same habitat, but like it's been found in all of this habitat across here in the middle. Sorry, I'm not on the right thing. These two sites on the left are in C, these two are in D. But it's been found in both C and D. So this entire middle section where C and D kind of intermingle, in theory, it could be found all across that. Could they have occurred in one of those places, but maybe got displaced by human intervention? Because the distribution is indeed insane. So, being such a new beetle, it was only, I say only, it's been like 13 years at this point since this beetle was described. But in the scheme of things, that's pretty recent compared to some other things that were described in like the 1700s. we haven't filled out a lot of data yet. We only had 11 specimens that we knew about, and so those were the only 11 known to exist in the world up to that point. So my thing is, because none of this distribution stuff makes sense, it has to occur throughout this middle section. That's like the mystery part that I'm trying to answer here. Uh, so we can fill in some of these gaps. What would you have done if you ran off with them and sold them on the black market? I'd probably get fired from my job, and I don't want that to happen. There is a trust system in operating like a bug library, basically. I'm very good friends with the guy that loaned these to me, so I'm not going to run off with his beetles. So, um, yeah, non issue. That was like last week in entomology time. Yeah, exactly. So this distribution is insane. UCF doesn't have any. However, I have found more. So in my collection where I work, I was going through our miscellaneous unidentified ground beetles. And I found a new series of 5. So there were 11. Now that I found 5 more, there are 16. This is very exciting because now we have a wider sample size, and maybe this will give us some more information. No. In fact, there were no new localities. These were all from the same spots as the other 11. And so that's kind of frustrating. I mean, very exciting that we found more of them. We're adding to our information on like when throughout the year they can be found, how they were being found, things like that. But we still haven't found any new locality information. This was something that happened back in like October. I found these like really pretty early on to when I started this job. Well, 3 days before I gave this talk for the first time, I found a newer series of 5. So I have now gotten it to 21 specimens when there were 11 at first, and there were still no new locality information. We are now up to 21, which we have essentially doubled the known number of specimens of this species worldwide. But they're all still from these stupid corners across Florida. And so this still feels pretty unbelievable, right? Like the corner thing doesn't make sense. It's really annoying. All from the same people. There were new collectors, but a lot of them were repeats as well. So, Simon Discord. That's very funny. So I give this talk back in January, and my friend goes, I think I have that. And I go, no, you don't. I don't think you have that. I think you're out of your mind. Well, my Christmas present this is a new one. This is now the 22nd specimen known of this species. And it was collected by a friend of mine. And do you want to know where my friend got it? Right here. Quite literally, the dead center where I predicted that this thing would be. And the crazy thing about this one was collected um this was collected in May. This one was collected in May of last year. Do you want to know? You want to know something else? I should have prepared this better. I apologize. You know what? You want to know what he sends me? You want to know what he sends me 3 weeks ago? Another one. Another new one. New spot. Very similar. Uh, Again, very centralized Florida. Pretty close to the pin, but different from the spot where the one that I have on the microscope was sitting. So this one is a little bit older and was sitting out on his desk for a couple months until he gave it to me. That does not make a great specimen for DNA work, and there's not really a ton of reason to do DNA work on this. We know very exactly what genus it's in. The guy who did the paper, I think, did some genetic information on these. But as part of my like very long-term project, Ground Beetles of Florida, that I'm working on, um, I am attempting to sequence all of the ground beetles in the state of Florida. And we now have fresh material for this fairly rare species, which is super freaking sick. And so the other specimen, the one that we're gonna take a leg off of to do some DNA work, that one is in my industrial freezer at work, staying at -80 so the DNA doesn't degrade. This one, however, it's a little banged up. It's missing its part of its left antenna. It's not the best condition. So I was given this one, and I mean, I was given both of them, but this one is going to be going into my personal collection. And so this was easily the best of the birthday, or the best of the Christmas presents that I got from my friend. So I'm going to put a pin in this guy, and then there is one more beetle that we can look at. It's not nearly as exciting, like discovery wise, as this one, but it is going to be a beetle that you guys like a lot because it's shiny. So we will work on that, and then we will put together Snoopy in a steamboat. So for those of you who maybe haven't seen these before or haven't been around when we've done insect pinning, um, the end results look something like this, where the insect is on the pin and there are little label informations under them that tells you exactly where and when and by who the specimen was collected. There are a couple of options, so you can do it like this, where the specimens are pretty tiny and they end up on a little paper triangle on the pin. Or you can have them where they're like slightly bigger and you actually have the specimen directly on a pin like this. This is kind of a weird size. It's like right on the edge of what I would maybe consider pointing. Um but I am going to pin it. Like I said, it's not the most perfect of specimens, so I'm not super worried about busting it up even more, even though it has been a little bit old. So we always go here on the right hand side. That is like convention. Probably because most people are right-handed. We don't go directly through the center because we could be destroying characters there. But insects are bilaterally symmetric, so the left and the right hand side look exactly the same. So if we accidentally, or when we put the pin through, uh, break something on the right hand side, the left hand side is still intact for us to reference and to look at. So we always put the pin on the right hand side, kind of up in the upper third of the elytron. So like right about there. So I will punch it in a little bit. And then the next thing that I do is I need to check whether or not it's straight in all of the different orientations. So right now you can sort of see that that beetle butt is very tilted to the one side. So this would not be ready to go just yet. So I always put the pin in the beetle a little bit, and then I manually adjust it so it's flat, like perpendicular to the pin, and then also parallel to the pin. And once it's good in both directions, then I will push the pin all the way through. And then you leave it at a certain height below the top of the pin. So here, you can see how we're looking at it laterally. And you can see that my white balance is crazy right now. Why is this? Um, properties, figure video. There we go. Okay. Not straight. So you can see now the pin is completely perpendicular and it's basically perpendicular to the beetle. They meet at a total cross. And then if you look straight down the beetle, the head is basically parallel to the pin as well. So this is now good orientation wise for us to continue. Does it hurt him? No, 31 repeats. This specimen has been in a freezer for quite a while. We would never pin anything alive. That's cruel and unusual. And even though entomologists do collect specimens a lot, where we do kill them for the science, we always do it in a very respectful way, and we always make sure that they are dead prior to working on them like this. So we would never do that. If we did it while they were alive, yes, probably, but we don't. So this is good to go now. The one thing I am going to check before we wrap it up. You're kidding. Hey, sometimes people aren't. and that's fine. I don't. There are no bad questions, so I will always answer it as if it were legitimate. So what I am noticing right now is that these front feet have some pretty dense hair under them. Nope. Zoom in. So, do you see those pads of hair under each of those little foot segments? That is telling me that this is a male. That is a sexually dimorphic character. Female ground beetles won't have that because that hair helps the males hang on to the females during mating. Um, and so what that means is that this is dissectable. And insect genitalia is something we have talked a lot on this stream about because a lot of the time it is unique and helpful for identification. So I just unpinned it. So I ran the forceps down, and you can see there we did break that metathoracic plate. So right here, that's the pinhole. And we will be going back through that when we repin this in just a minute. But because I do want to try and dissect this, at least pull out the genitalia from the end, I wanted to take it off the pin just so it would be a little bit more easy to work with. We might not be able to do it in the way that I'm hoping, because, like I said, this individual was sitting on my friend's desk for a while, just out and kind of dried. So it dried and then rehydrated in the ethanol. Brit is lazy. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Um, and so once things have dried out a little bit, even if they get rehydrated with ethanol, the membranes are not the same as they once were. So we're just gonna see if I'm going to be able to dissect this. If not, that's fine. I will do the next one. My friend might keep finding more of these for me, so that's great. But I don't need the genitalia to confirm this identification because it is like a very obvious species. Um, but it is something that I like to do generally, like while I'm pinning the specimen, because it's even more of a pain in the butt to have pinned something, let it totally dry, and then have to go back to it later. So, if I know it's a male, I will always try and do the dissection, um, basically while I work. So it's not a fancy process. I literally just have this pair of tweezers that I am going to reach up and try to grab out the end. But like I said, if it doesn't work and the membranes are too tight, I'm not going to worry about it. But you can see, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get this done. Yeah, it's too dried, so we're not going to be able to do that. I don't want to try and risk ruining the specimen. So we'll just flip it back, put it back on the pin. We have a nice easy guide hole to go through now, so we know exactly where we put everything. But if we look straight down the back here, the tip of what we're looking for is right here. So when oops, I just forget how much this thing moves. So if we turn it this way, this is like the natural way of the ground beetle. The genitalia curves around to the right, or no, sorry, curves around to the left. So when they mate, it like comes out and down. So when you pull it, you don't ever pull it straight out. You always kind of like curve it out, if that makes sense. And again, that thing that motion, the membrane that allows it to turn and rotate like that, in ethanol and after it's dried up, it gets pretty stiff and holds that in there. So that's why we're not able to finish doing the dissection right now, just because I don't want to ruin the specimen. Kind of related, but when I was sorting samples on the weekend, a bunch of the mites had a white thing coming out from the end of the abdomen. Was that the weenie? I mean, maybe. You should have taken a picture and dropped it in bug cord. We are always happy to have that discussion there. It could have been. It could have been other things as well, but definitely a possibility. So with this, he's on the pin now. We are all good. I am just going to pin it down on some styrofoam, and that way, the legs stay tucked. If you just put them on the pin and let them sit as they are, the legs will dangle, and that's not good because the labels and stuff have to go down there. So I always put them on just like a little piece of styrofoam like this. So the bug is flat against the styrofoam. So when it dries, the legs are all going to be tucked up in the right position. And then once it's dry, we can take it off and the legs won't move anymore after that. So this is going to stay on here for just a couple days. And then we'll be able to take it off and put the label and everything back on it. Missu Kissu, hello. It's been a while. How are you? I'd like to report that my roommate came in and she was ranting about how studies have shown that you don't need to be afraid of black widows because they can't get you unless they're in your gloves. Yes, I agree. I love black widows. Some of my favorites. Okay, so that was my very exciting beetle. That was the one that like I was obviously most excited for because it was the rare thing and one of these ones that I've been like trying to figure out. This next one is a very common thing, but I think you guys will probably like it a lot. And I don't blame you. It's a great bug. It is a great, great beetle. If I can do it this way. Da 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 da! This is Phanius vindex, the rainbow dung beetle. Lots of factors that I think you guys would really like. Shiny color, big horn, poop. So lots of good stuff going for this guy. Let's take a closer look here under the scope. Thanks, Tortilla. Case, what's up, bro? How are you? Poop guy, yeah. So, as you can see, called the rainbow dung beetle because it's got a lot of different colors on it. In Florida, we actually have a second species that's called Phanius igneus, which looks very similar. It's got kind of the red on the pronotum and the green on the wings, but the top of the pronotum, is really granular in Vindex. So you can see all these different um, ridges and bumps and holes and stuff there on the pronotum. In igneous, the pronotum is going to be very smooth. Igneous is more goth. A little bit. It's darker. So you can see here, Tortilla linked it. It's got the same sort of color scheme, but the pronotum here, this is not nearly as bumpy and ridged. It's still sort of textured, but not anything like this. So that's one of the ways that you're able to separate them. I don't know if Lyndon is still here, but she sent me a picture the other day of Phanius texanus, which is like the goth one. It's mostly black. So this is Texensis. It is Texensis, sorry, not Texanus. My bad. That's fine. We'll allow Texanus. But yeah, so this is the Texas one. I think when they were putting in the pollinator garden, we saw one of these coming in. I know I've identified one of these on stream before, but Lyndon also just found one the other day. So same genus, they're closely related, they're cousins basically. But this one, the Phanius vindex is like the Florida thing. So obviously from the top, great coloration, 10 out of 10. If we give them a little bit of a turn to the side though, we get to see one of the other reasons why I figured you guys would all really like him. He was down on top of your car and now he's in your freezer. Nice. Got a sick 3/4 view now. This is a major male. So we've talked about major and minor male dung beetles before, but the ornamentation on the head is only for males because they use them to fight for access to females and for access to dung. This is a major male. His horn is huge. Now, not all of the horns on these dung beetles will be like this. Some of them will have much smaller horns, and the females don't have horns at all. But the male here has this giant, the giant horn in the front and sort of these corner things here. So it does look like a Triceratops a bit, Tortilla. Newer of us, what is a major male and minor male? Great question. It's basically just the size of the horn. It's like a size class sort of thing. Horn size in dung beetles is based on their nutrition as a larva, so like how quality their food was as a baby. And so they can have different size horns depending on how good their food was. And if you think about it like deer, The deer with the larger antlers get access to the females more, and that is very similar to how it works in dung beetles. Uh, the larger your horn, generally the better you're able to fight, and the better access you have to females. I am searching Bug Guide now to try to find a minor male. Look at this guy. This guy's small. So still a male because he still has the horn, but obviously his horn is much smaller than the one that we're looking at. So it's based on food availability and food nutrition. So this is the minor male, and then the one that we've been looking at is the major. Oh, and that Starberry, that's the antenna. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he's a grower. So yeah, if we want to see that then underneath. Um so underneath now, we can see some of the other structures that are going on. So I pulled out the antenna. This is what you guys were just looking at, kind of fanned out on the bug guide photo. But now on ours, so here is one of the antenna. And since this is a scarab beetle, they do have those lamellate antennae where it's like uh asymmetrically enlarged. So it goes off to the one side and then basically all of the inside kind of grows crazy and makes this nice cute little club. And then right in here, Starberry. Remember the palps are a mouth part. And so they're kind of hard to see on this guy, but like here's one of the labial palps. The maxillary palps are up here. So this kind of mess here in the middle is the palps that help them feed and sense and do all that other good stuff. But the antennae are very, very cute. Spider parenting question. Switch gears here a second. How do I ground a spider for being over dramatic while trying to fix his webs and faking his death? Uh, that that's because Kitty's a boy. After they've had their ultimate molt where they become fully mature, they stop thinking about a lot of that other stuff. Which is why I think he's been not eating for you for a while. They can last a really long time on really like no food after they matured. Um, they want to mate, and that's like the only thing they focus on. So that's probably why he's being antsy, is that he's trying to find a female. So this one, very easy. Again, this is an even bigger beetle than the last one, so this one definitely gets a pin. But the body, like, proportions of this guy are way different than the little Simindus rufostigma that we just pinned. So where did my pins? My pins are over here. I'm really hard to jump. this is as far as zoomed out. This is kind of a big beetle. So up here, this like shovel section that's attached to the horn is the head. Then this, the big shield part here behind the head, is the pronotum. And so in this one, it is very, very enlarged because it helps with the fighting. So we always pin on the right side of the elytra, which are the wings of the beetle. And you can always tell where that is because of this like suture down the middle, like this midline. So this is where the two wings connect. And so we are going to put the pin right about there. So in that upper right-hand third of the elytra is where we're going to put the pin. We'll go about there. And again, I'm going to push it into the beetle, just so it's in the middle of the beetle itself. Oh, sorry. Okay. Try this. So if we hold the pin straight up, you can see that that beetle is definitely like on a tilt. So the pin is in, but not all the way through. So now I'm going to mess with those angles to make sure that everything is straight. There's a bug with a handle for holding that I learned about recently, but now I can't remember what it is. You're thinking of the ant inquiline little scarab guys, I think. Um, 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 um. Can't spell things, but you're probably talking about something like this. Oh God, Tortilla. That's so stressful. It's where I sent it to you. Those termites, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that do that, Starberry, but you see it a lot in things that live with ants because it needs the ants to be able to pick it up. So a lot of ant inquiline things like this. This is a hysterid beetle. This subfamily specifically is like really modified to have handles and have weird grooves and stuff in the pronotum so the ants and termites can pick them up. But yes, I think Ophelia did send me the specific one that you were talking about. Wasn't it a larva? Maybe. Some of them have it too. There's a lot of different ant inquiline things that they're able to work with. Um, so yeah, probably something like this at least. So I'm still arranging, making sure he's 90 degrees. Get through. And so now that it's through, you can check again. It's basically the horn is parallel to the pin. You turn it this way and it's basically 90 degrees. So again, with him, we are just going to go into the foam. And then you can see that there are some leggies sticking out a little bit. Maybe. So I'm just going to use a couple of our pins from the best stream of all time, where I sorted insect pins for 4.5 hours, and you guys, for whatever reason, watched that happen. Remember when we did this? So I'm going to take a couple out of here and then just use them to tuck the legs back in place and tuck everything so it's nice and compacted. For whatever Tortilla's doing for her crafting, having the legs out and stuff is nice, but for collection stuff specifically, space is a huge issue. And so splaying legs like that wastes a lot of space. So we tend not to do that. We are much more leg tuckers in doing proper museum specimens. So I put a couple in, still, sort of did what Tortilla did, but I put everything, tucked it all nice. Sporky Fork Spoon, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I remember something that you're probably entomologist around. I found an anthill under rocks we moved, and they seemed to farm isopods. They had a whole nursery of them living in harmony. Is that a thing that they do? Maybe. That doesn't seem outlandish for ants. I work on beetles specifically, but I dabble. I dabble a lot in a lot of other things. And so ants do tend other insects. They do they will like take care of aphids and things like that. But I don't know what benefit that ants would have for keeping isopods. So this is what Starberry was talking about. So Eocorothodaries incredibilis is a new genus and a new species of Aphodiine scarab. So this is a little dung beetle. And this is the one that they were just talking about here that has that like really indented pronotum here that the ants, or in this case termites, are using to pick them up and carry them around like this. So that's pretty nifty. Oh, 2012. Why is this blowing up now? It's 15 years old. But yeah, like I said, a lot of these ant incline things that live with ants, will have these handles and stuff basically for them to grab onto. So, very cool example of that. All right. Let's completely switch gears and start playing with blocks. So, as I said before we got into the beetle story, my buddy gave me Tugboat Snoopy as a present this weekend. These are interlocking brick sets. This is legally distinct from Lego. So that's why it doesn't say Lego. It's an interlocking brick set. And yeah, so the rest of this stream, we are going to do some assembly. It's not very much. Oh god, there's stickers. We're so cooked, chat. So we've got the sticker set. And then we've got Snoopy himself. And then we've got boat pieces. So we are going to flip the camera. We've done this. We did this for the insect pin sorting stream, actually. The very high tech way of me just turning my webcam downwards. Wait, sticker tip, use the flat end of your bug tweet. Oh yeah, to like lay them on. Yeah, I can totally see that. All right. So, here's our instruction book. Oh good. It's in some sort of Asian language that I can't read. That's okay. Pieces are easy to see. It looks like I need to do both bags. Yeah, it looks like I need to dump both bags to be able to build the boat. Snoopy is last, so we're gonna just move him off to the side. I'm gonna dump out these other two. But before we do that, there has been an update to... Oh god, this is gonna be a crazy angle. I don't know how many of you knew about the Lego Frog collection, but earlier this year, this is all... Coming back up for a minute. This is all of the different colors that the Lego Frog piece has ever been made in. And so there were 16, but just this year they added the light yellow and the black. So this is now, again, complete. This is all of the Lego Frogs that they've ever made. And I say I designed it because I did, but like, it's not that crazy of a thing. This little stair step display. So I can take these plates off here in the front and add plates with studs. So if they have they can add up to 6 more frogs before I have to redo my display, which is quite nice. And some of these are like uber dirt common. The 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 light pink one right here is the thing that they use for the cherry blossoms in the bonsai set. So there's like 200 of those in that set. But then the one next to it, the translucent green frog, this one here, was actually the first Lego frog that they made. And it was only released in 4 sets that all came out before 2003. So all of the translucent green frogs that exist are over 20 years old and they don't make them anymore. Do you know how much this translucent green frog cost? He is the coolest one. I agree. He's absolutely the coolest one. For no. No. You guys are overshooting it. Lego gets really expensive. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It was like $40. Which is insane for this like 1x1 stud brick frog. Mom Tomology actually got that for me for Christmas last year, and I forgot that I asked for it. And so there is a giant, like 2-foot by 2-foot box that I'm like, I didn't ask for anything this big. Like, what could this be? It wasn't that big. It was, in fact, the singular tiny Lego frog in this giant box full of packing peanuts that I then had to sort through to try to find my little silly frog guy. So, incredibly expensive for what it is. There are Lego sets that do go for like tens of thousands of dollars. Um, and things like that. There are definitely things that are way more expensive. The translucent green frog was like $40. The rest of them were all like sub. I think $5 was maybe the next most expensive one. So I have all of the Lego frogs that currently exist, including the two that were released earlier this year. So this is now complete. Um, and this is real Lego. But now we're gonna swap back to this. To build Snoopy. Where is my knife? I don't know. Ophelia, don't let the feds hear you say that. Alright, so these are the little bits and bobs. And then these are going to be the bigger plates. A variety of mini disco ball decorations, because somehow that keeps flies away. Interesting. Let me know how that works. I've never really heard that, but I've also never really had to deal with horseflies very much, so I don't know. Ophelia, not here. I'm not affiliated. I'm not Opheliated, if you will. So, okay. We've got our pictures now. Oh. Adults are welcome. Nice. All right. So we need a 4x6 plate. This one here. It's green. It's like a dark foresty green, but the color balance is a little iffy right now. Does this need to be on? Is this better? I have no idea actually. Anyway, this is the plate. This is the plate that we're looking at. And I also need a 1x4. Like this. Wait. See how it compares? Ooh, yeah. All right, then we need a 2x4 brick, which we have here. Oh, that did not snap. That was disappointing. But we need 4 of these guys. No. 4 of these guys. 3 and 4. So these are like the boat hull sections, it looks like. They're the part that's going to make the boat curve up. Why are you guys talking about eating Lego? Dug around in dirt this weekend with my sister-in-law to help prep her garden beds for the season and saw so many buggies and gave her so many Chat Chats fun facts. Yes. Excellent, Sam. That is the way of Chat Chats. That's exactly what we want people to take out of it. Woodland Mushroom Lego set. I did see that one, Paper Jewels. So now we need 2 of these that go that way, and then 2 of them that go the other way. Number 1 chatter for real. Nice job, Sam. We love to hear that. So I need this, and I need a 4x2. Do this. And then we do this. And then we do this. Do this. We got a boat. We've got boat goings on. Two these. This is an interesting piece. It's just got studs on the end, not in the middle. Check that. And then we need a regular 1x4. And then we need 4 shelf. 3. 4. Fly that inflates its eye stalk. Yeah, it it does look like a stock-eyed fly. That's fine. So back there. That goes there. There. And then these go on like this. You guys, well, again, this is not regulation Lego, but do you guys know what they call these types of bricks? So like typically Legos, have the things on the top and the bottom, but then these ones have them on the side. Yeah. You guys are plugged in. Yeah, they're called snot bricks. Studs not on top. So we just used those snot bricks to attach our weird little wide eye thing to this. And then we put it here. Never had a Lego set in your whole life. Wow. One Lego set is the bonsai. I have a lot of Lego. I obviously have the bugs. I also have the Jurassic Park T-Rex head. I have the dinosaur skeleton museum display thing. I have the Kingfisher. I like me some Lego. I always have. Lyndon is playing a dangerous game. Okay, okay. Oh, Daisy's in the little ladybug block. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fun. So we have this. Now we got 2 blue snots. And then we've got 4 of these pyramid corners. 3 and 4. Oh, the kingfisher husband out for your birth. Nice. W. Wild Child Mama's husband. So there was one weekend that I went to go get the kingfisher, and my local stores did not yet have it. And so because I had already like in my mind had Lego for the weekend, I bought the T-Rex headset. And it was really fun, and it was a good addition. Um but yeah, I was like already in my mind that I was going to build something that weekend, and then they didn't have it, and I was like what do we do anyway? So that's what I did. That's how I got my T-Rex head, and honestly, love it too. Very excited about that one. He's down. All I want to do, y'all are talking so much. I want to do for my birthday was go camping by myself and build my Lego Kingfisher, and that's what I did. That's awesome. I would love that. Hummingbird, robin, blue jay. Oh, you did the otters. That's nice. There's an unaffiliated plastic block store that has some cicadas. I would be down for unaffiliated block cicadas. Uh, yes, I saw the isopurse. I'm very excited for you. All right, we're getting boatier and boatier. All right, 2 flat tiles, 2 2x2s, a 2x3 vertical. Nope, 2 2x3s. Green vertical, and then 2 corner pieces, but specifically that go with that. Oh, the mini block cicada. I have a little Hercules beetle thing that I got from them a while ago. Did you see the isopod art? I didn't see it on show and tell, but did you post it in Bugcord? It was Marty, right? I think I remember it. It was very good if it's the one that I'm thinking about. You did, okay. Yeah, yeah. I do remember that then. Here. turns out no. Listen, you did a way better job than I ever could, so I'd count that as a win. All right. So we've just made two boat edges that are going to be like the sides of it, I think. See the bird artist that did a stream in Pan Stompy. I did not see it live, but I am very familiar with I Paint Birds. I've seen a lot of people's great renditions of that. Again, way better than anything that I could ever break out. So, the LA's community is incredibly talented in like so many different ways. It's pretty ridiculous. Nope, just kidding. Oh, you're a professional artist. Wow. That's even crazier. Because I could drive the curve down so hard. Somebody's got to, Tortilla. Gotta be one of us. Alright. Ooh, look at this. We've got boat. That doesn't feel right. No, it doesn't. Oops, yeah, okay, maybe it is. So these are only connecting in with these two studs, because the rest of that is smooth. So these are just slotting into these two studs right here on the base. And it's like it's a kind of tight fit for just those two, but it like fleshes out really well. Nice. Oh, yeah. So that fits in very nice like that. And look, we've got the whole. Okay, now we get into some of the pink pieces. So two 2x10s, 2, 4, 6, 10, and then the singular 2x12. And then these weird half moon pieces. Okay. So 12 straight down the middle. 2, leave a stud on each end. And then half circles them off. Look at that. So we've got our deck now. And now we build railings. Okay. So we've got this. We have two of these else knots. Do we have two of these else knots? Oh no, we only have one of those. That would have driven me crazy. Looking for another little snot brick that doesn't exist. Use that one. Okay. This goes that. And we do one and one. and 2. We have 2 by 8, or 1 by 8, excuse me. 1 by 8 here. And halves. Finish the railing. And then some neat little detail. It's like a railing wedge, but it's got these crossbars, so it sort of looks like a ladder. And so that gives us a little thing here and here on the boat. Ooh, that's a fun piece. One of these, one of these, one of these. Uh-oh. We're at sticker time. Okay. So we have this little 1x2 pink plate that goes here. And then there's this 1x2 block, but it's got like grooves down this side. So it's groovy over here, but then smooth. Oh, it's grooved on both sides. I lied almost. The grooves are horizontal on one side and vertical on the other. So vertical grooves in, which means that horizontal lines are out. Blue mashed potato. Barely end of afternoon. Well, yeah, it's 6:30 for Ophelia, but it's 9:30 for me. Okay, so then we have our first sticker application. It is a 1x4 brick like this, and I have to put this little zigzag on it. Okay. That may have been the most textbook stickering that I have ever done in my entire life. Look at that. That's insane. Wow. You know what? Maybe I'm goated. So we pop that right there now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It looks good. Now it's on the side of the boat. All right, now we've got 3 window pieces and 2 uprights. One there. And one there. Don't worry, Donkus. I messaged them already. Beeger knows about this. They're out and about right now. I think they said they had dinner plans or something, but they would be supporting in spirit. Not sleep at this point. I'm tired. Oh, no, I don't know how you guys do it. You specifically, but I don't know if you know Box Bush. Box is Brit, and he also has the craziest sleep schedule that I've ever seen or heard of in my life. But yeah, lots of late nights going on. All right, pink 2x2. Do the corners here and gold door. All right, making a cute little door. So you're showing all this and managed to get fixed. Man, that I I love it. I appreciate the dedication. Bug hunts, bug hunts are recorded. There is a VOD, and I know it's not the same, but there is in fact a VOD. All right. 4x2, 1x4, 2. Good time to chats in your streams 8 and 11 a.m. Huh. You guys are really dedicated. I love it. So, we're making a roof now. So that goes there. There. Nope. God. Evan, I would not stay up to watch your stream. I am so sorry. And are you fake for that? No, Tortilla, I don't think you're fake. I think that's actually extremely real and based of you. Um, I I am a baby with my sleep schedule. Even in college and all throughout grad school, I did not do like the late night, uh, full like all nighter streams and whatnot, or just being up that late sort of thing. So like, I gotta get my hours. The VODs are up. It's not like you're missing any groundbreaking content. Um, yeah, I wouldn't stay up for my I wouldn't stay up for my own streams. But I do appreciate y'all that would. The support is phenomenal, and you guys are a great community. I just wouldn't do it personally. Evan is a big fan of Evan, yeah. Okay. And we make a little window. Sleep when I fall, but I'll sleep that's freaking dawn. Yeah. Alright, so we've made a little front window. Attach this on top. So cute. All right. 2 1x1 smooth tiles. 2 half circles. Nope, just kidding. 2 1x1 studs. 2 1x2 flat plates. Sure. Okay, that's better. That was pretty good. That spun way longer than I thought it would. We can really get that going. I feel like it did better when I didn't like give it power. Just go. This is my thing. This is like my Inception thing. If you think it's a dream, you just gotta spin the Snoopy wheel, and you'll be able to tell if I'm sleeping or not. Oh God. Crazy now with the single pieces. Need this. I need this. And I need 2 of these. That one, this one, gray one, flag. Okay. We're back at another sticker, chat. Oh, we got a bunch of stickers right now. Shit. We've got 5 stickers to put on right now. Okay. Well, that don't work. All right. Our first thing that we're making here is the flagpole. The flagpole has a cute little dog bone on top of it. Staying for sticker time, then need to BRB for an actual meal. Snacks not filling. Only goes on one side. Is that true? I guess so. I guess this is like a one-way model. This one seems way more forgiving. It's not centered, but like it's not centered on the thing either. Has it lined up to that edge, so I don't know. I think that was okay. Um, but I have a bunch more to do. So next I have to put a sticker on this because this is a life ring, and they were actually kind enough to give me 3 of these in case I really mess it up. Mm, I, you know, I don't hate it. I think that's like pretty solid. Definitely not bad enough to do it again. Okay, so we did that. Now we have the cute little door. So these are what the rest of the stickers look like. Um, like I said, they gave us 2 more of these life ring things in case we really messed it up, but I think we did okay there. It gave us these little flags, which are going on this step. It has the Snoopy boat logo that's also going on this step. It has our anchor, which is not going on right now. It has rope for the anchor, I think, which is also not going on just yet. We've got 2 paw prints. We have the door, which is going on right now. This is going to be the next one I put on. And then we have the little peanuts sticker right there. So we're going to do the door next. And I don't know that I'll be able to show it back under the scope because the door is already attached to the boat over here. It did say peanuts. Up late jorking it, and by it I mean my peanuts. So this one has a flat edge and a rounded edge. So I figured it would be easier to line up the flat edge with the bottom. So I'm flipping it upside down so I can add this one here. All right. Door on and fairly straight. Happy with that. Okay, our little life ring goes right here. The Snoopy panel goes on this section. that looks solid. Then we need our little flags. Master of ground beetles and stickers. You know, I feel way more confident about my ground beetles than I do my stickers. Dogbone flag, cute. This. That goes here. Okay. I think that's all for that step. Now we've got like the smokestack to build. We got that. We got that. Technic piece. 2 smooth ones. 2 gray ones. Okay. So Ridgy Donut. Granny. Hello. Okay, so if we do this, we do a gray piece. And then we do this and a gray piece. And then it goes down. Coming back, we need nutrients. Go, Onora. Oh shit. Oh no. You know, turns out they didn't give me 2 extra stickers for the life rafts, for the life rings. They just want me to make 3 of them. So we're gonna have to do this again. Run it back. Yep. This is the run back. That's better than the first one. I think that's better than the first one. All right. That was the run back. This is the 3-peat. All right. One more time. That's pretty good. I think 2 was maybe the best one. But that looks pretty damn good to me. I'll take it. I will take it. All right. And then we're supposed to put a paw print up here on. It's supposed to have 2? Maybe just the one. I don't know. We're supposed to put one of these paw prints. Oh, no, that was fast. What did you get? This next one doesn't really matter, I don't think, in terms of placement. Just a little paw print here on the side of the smokestack. So we can be a little willy-nilly with one. Leftovers, okay. It's like, there's no way you cook something new in that time. Alright, so we turn this way now. And we have... We have smokestack. And we put on 2 life preserver thingies. Lego time. No glacial. This is legally distinct interlocking brick set. I don't know this L word of which you speak. Oh, right. You did say it was also like 4 a.m. for you. Yeah, that is also a crazy time to cook dinner, regardless of who you live with. I think I'd be pissed at myself if I cooked. If I cooked at 4 a.m. All right, so now we put our anchor sticker on. Very cute. And then we have to put our little rope up at the front. I haven't been up since college. I feel that, Roxers. Me either. Well, that's actually not true. But it is very, very infrequent. Alright. So this is the one side. We've got our rope and our anchor. We've got the rope and the anchor. We've got our 2 life-saving thingies. We've got the little paw print up here on the smokestack. And then this side, we have the little flags, the Snoopy, the life preserver, the door, and then the Charlie Brown flag. I think I'm supposed to put the other paw print over here on this side, but I'm not like 100% sure on that, so we're gonna hold off for just a minute. I also don't know where I have to put my peanuts. Guys, I learned where I have to put my peanuts. I put my peanuts right there. Got like a little license plate. It's got a little license plate spot. Okay. And then I'm just going to put this other paw print on. So why not? Cute. All right. All done with stickers. Now, we must build our captain. We must build the captain of our vessel. And this is way different than normal Lego. This is like this is definitely like bigger than minifig scale. So they've got all these different pieces and stuff. So this is gonna be different. Have this and this. Do this. And then we put that there. Snoopy is fishing. So we are currently building him a fishing rod. And it holds a bone for bait. That's adorable. Look at the little Snoopy fishing rod. Catching puffer fish. Foot, torso, blue thing. I'm assuming that's a tail. And then two little blue things. Is this correct? This seems correct. Okay. So does Snoopy have left and right feet? Doesn't look like it. And no toes today. You're right, Starberry. There hasn't been. There was that one chatter at the very beginning who was called Toe Sucker or something. So we had some sort of feet content today, but not our daily dose. Ugh, oh my god. Ugh. Okay, so what's happening right now? Is that this is Snoopy's pelvis, and I have to put the foot through the pelvis and then secure it with like this little pin. So I have to do it this way, I think. Except the feet face forward. Ah, like that. Okay. These are very tiny Snoopy bits, so gotta make sure that secures. I don't like that. Okay, Snoopy has one foot. He sort of articulates. It's not like it's more than a minifig, like a Lego, traditional Lego one. I'll have more movement than that, but it's not like a fully. Snoopy, your hips. Your hips are lying to me. Scary. There we go. Okay. Snapped in. Nice. Now they fit there. That's good. Um, we do have a little tail, so that has to slot in the back, and then we attach his torso. And that should lock everything in, because that's like the top piece of. Oh, look at that. Da. Snoopy going crazy. Tortilla, do you have the Snoopy please emote? It's like the Snoopy guy like clapping and doing a little dance. If so, could we add that? All right. Snoopy is here. Now we have to assemble his brain. So, little red collar. Whatever. Oh, that's his nose, I suppose. An ear. The other ear. And two Snoopy heads. Okay. So, head down. Nose. Slots. Cool. Oh, we're at the ceiling. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Owenora. Hydration. Oh, there's a clip for that too, Sam. This isn't milk. It is a recycled Wawa diet iced tea bottle that I use for water. But before I had a time limit on the hydrate redeem, I think it was like 27 hydrates in a row, and I chugged the entire thing. I don't know who had. Yeah, it was Ophelia's fault, but some there's a clip for that somewhere. Someone has that. All right, so Snoopy nose in. Snoopy ear. Snoopy ear in. While I'm here though, Snoopy other ear in. Snoopy nose. And the collar is on Snoopy neck. And we just push them together. Redeems to hydrate because we collectively forget water exists. Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, I was the next day after we did the book stream, I was dying. I was like the next morning I was so parched. Because I had spent like 4.5 hours or whatever reading, and I definitely was not hydrating enough for it. Okay, so Snoopy's left arm has the patch. Also, right arm. This. Really drains taunt. See, I've always been pretty good about managing my own. Um, like I said earlier in the stream, I worked at a water park for 5 years, and so we were outside all the time, and it was hot. It was the middle of the summer, so I always got really good about hydrating. Um, but then when I moved out to Arizona, it was like a totally different beast because of like how hot it was. And so now here, it's still hot, but it's not as like oppressively hot as it was in Arizona. And so I feel like I'm forgetting more now to hydrate. Um, but I've been fine. I haven't run into any issues with it, but I definitely feel like I'm still a little bit under uh what I should be. So okay, Snoopy lives. Look at him. He can move his hands. He can move his feet. He can sit. Oh, decorate my water bottle to make me excited to see it, so I still want to drink it. Ooh. I feel like I can't put stickers on my water bottle because I feel like I drop it too much. Can he do that? Let's see. Okay. Kick, clap, down, kick, clap, down. I could probably do it if I like stop motion animated this, but with the controlling on my hands, I don't think it'll look that good. All right, so now we give Snoopy his little fishing rod. Look at him fishing. Water bottle is coated in stickers, but every couple of years one gets too fucked up from dents and dings and retires. Find a puffer. Hopefully he does. All right. So he can stand. He articulates nicely. And then the last thing, we have to put Snoopy on the boat, but we also have to put this on the boat. This, as it turns out, is decorative. This just goes in right here. However, it still spins on here. Not as free. Not as free as it does on the desk. That looks pretty good. And then we can put Snoopy fishing at the bow. And he's done. Does it still spin when it's... So, yeah, so check the colors better now. You can see the green a little bit. But we've got the... Oh, over here. We've got the anchor and the rope and little fishing Snoopy. And on this side, we've got the Snoopy and the little celebration flags. This still spins, so calm down there, chat. We've got the little door. We've got the Charlie Brown flag. And then, last but not least... Aw, oh, damn it. It was a 50-50 shot and I got it wrong. The Peanuts. Show Peanuts. Come on. Focus. There it is. There's the Peanuts. This was fun. This is cute. It is very adorable. Shout out my homie Ethan for hooking me up with Snoopy Boat for my for Christmas. Nope. Try again. Nope. Yeah, actually Christmas. That was right. I was right the second time. Shout out for Ethan for hooking me up with the sick beetle. And for getting me that other copy of that book that I really like. So, shouts out. Love that guy. Pick Ethan? Yeah, I agree. He's a homie for sure. He was actually one of my entomology students in Arizona. And then he grew up and went off to bigger and better things and started doing his PhD here in Florida. And then I was able to move behind him now, so now we get to hang out again, which is sick and awesome and fun. Raid Maya for clout. Do we do that? Or do we go to Bumblebee because it was her birthday just recently? Make him sign up for Twitch. He's been here before. He's been in here before. Yes, absolutely. Raid Maya. Okay. Okay, I can do that. Yes, I am going to end it because it is 10:30 and I didn't think this stream would last that long. But we did do a lot of yapping and looking at my pictures and stuff and talking about touching grass outside this weekend. So overall, pretty good. Glad we got everything that I wanted to done today. We got the Snoopy together. We got the beetle pinned. We got all kinds of good stuff. Thank you all, as always, for hanging out. I think this was a pretty fun one. The Lego cam could maybe use a little bit of work, but we've tried it out now. So we can maybe see if they get any new bug sets. We could maybe put some more together. Wildlife Adventure Healing Vibes to the ankles. Thank you all. Thanks, everybody. But thank you all for hanging out. I guess we are going to raid into Maya. Raid Maya. All right, easy. I'll see you guys over there. I'll probably hang out for a little bit, but I will be back sometime soon. See y'all next time. Bye. Maybe she'll FaceTime and call me out. And hey, it's open.